Welcome to the Astro forecast for the week of August 16th to the 22nd. I am your astrologer, She Tells Story, and I am bringing you the energy forecast for this week to come. Now, this week is intense. I'm going to say this one of the most intense, potent weeks of this year. And there might be a couple others, but this one is definitely top 3 of this year. The reason for it this week, we have a full moon, second full moon in Aquarius. We call that a blue moon because it's 2 full moons in the same sign. And we also have the sun moving into Virgo. And we have Uranus going retrograde. Now, Uranus is the planet of chaos, upheaval, revolution, change. It's a change maker that's happened, that's kind of moving things along here in 2020 and 2021 and into 2022 as well. So this is kind of that COVID coming in, our lives being disrupted, and really bringing all of your fears to light. Right? Uranus is that planet that if you're holding on to a safety raft, it likes to take the raft and throw it away, and you got to figure things out on your own. No more safety. This is about you learning how to swim. So this is a very potent week. So we're going to start off this week, August 16th, with Venus moving into beautiful Libra. Now, if you know any Libras, I know a lot of them. They are so beautiful, right? It's just this Venusian goddess kind of energy that just permeates through them. So Venus in Libra is about balance. It's about harmony. It's about getting along, finding that balance of me and them kind of thing. So the me in the zodiac is Aries, right? First sign in the zodiac. Libra is the opposite sign of we, of balance. And one of the hardest plights, I think, for every Libra that I've ever met is trying to find that balance between them and their partner and not giving so much of themselves or their freedom or their patience or their concessions away to just find the balance between, because they don't like disagreements, they don't like confrontation, they just want balance and peace and love in their life. They really are such lovely people. But there's this, every sign has their plight in this lifetime, and Libra's plight is to find harmony within themselves and self-love within themselves without giving away all their power to try to make things fair or to avoid the fight, to avoid the confrontation. So this is going to be a time where this Venus in Libra is going to be quite lovely because it's coming into a kind of an intense time in the collective, let's be honest. So this Venusian Venus is going to help us try to get along and find balance and harmony with each other, because there is much more churning up of the different sides and the different debates going to be coming up. Now, as always, I am staying neutral on my forecast. I stay neutral with my clients. That's really not for me to have an opinion. I'm not here speaking on any platform that I know really well. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. All I'm just going to present is how the energy is going to come up for the collective and how you might find your place in all of that. Okay. So with this Venus in Libra, this is lovely. It's going to really help us to focus on relationships, balance, beauty. We're more inclined to employ charm, willing to negotiate and compromise. Yes, to the compromise. They do unfortunately like to avoid uncomfortable situations. And that can lead to us not actually vocalizing the things that we really need to speak about. It's kind of just like glossing things over. But I think we've been doing a lot of vocalizing over this year. So maybe this period of time, maybe just be like, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, we agree to disagree. I see your post. I'm not going to comment on it because really, am I going to change anyone's mind on social media? All right, the other aspect on this day is Mercury is in conjunct Saturn. So Mercury is our mind, it's in Virgo. So we are this precision, detail, perfectionist. We are focused on doing things the right way. And Saturn is going retrograde through Uranus. So these two, Aquarius. Saturn is going retrograde through Aquarius, and Aquarius is about the people, right? And our responsibility to each other. And, what are we doing for the greatest good of society? Saturn through Aquarius is like Medicare, social programs, right? Helping everyone to come to the level where you can have an honest living. It's CERB. right? If you're living somewhere else in the world, it's social assistance that helps people to have a good life, not just be in poverty. And so these two structures are not working well together. This is sort of a need for an adjustment. So our mind and our social programs, we're trying to come together. You almost feel out of sorts, is what I'm going to say with this day. Monday, you might feel a little out of sorts. Your routines and your attention to practical details like budgets, finances, and tedious tasks may suffer as a result of your mind being scattered or too focused on details. So that's kind of like either they're one where it's just so focused that you're not getting anything done, or you're feeling scattered because you're like, oh my God, I have so much to do. So much responsibility. Saturn's about responsibility. Tuesday, August 17th, again, we have another inconjunct, the sun, which is in Leo, and Pluto in Capricorn, which is retrograde. So feeling like we're in a mini crisis, maybe feeling like your personal power has been taken away, compromise is needed now, trust and let go of the ego. It's going to be really important. So the sun in Leo is got a lot of pride about them, right? Leo has this pride about it that it's very proud of what it has. The plight of every Leo is to figure out its power in this lifetime and to own it with authority that isn't punitive or punishing, if that makes sense. So you can be powerful and walk into a room and people go, oh, look at her, like J-Lo, right? You look at her, man, she is a powerful Leo, right? And she's got her power. She doesn't have to be telling you, listen, I'm J-Lo, although maybe her songs kind of say it, but she doesn't. She's more just as powerful. She just has to stand there and you look at them and look, wow. So this isn't about asserting your power over other people. It's about being you, shining your light, and you're feeling like you're being a little stifled right now. So what this feels like to me is this could be more restrictions coming in around the world. Leo as well, and it's a fire sign. So this is also the spread of COVID and the rise of the Delta variant is going to be very evident here in this forecast this week. So as that rise is coming in, there's going to be these tentative, are we happy? Are we not happy with these constraints? Do we feel like we're going so free? Do we feel like we're not? Some people are going back into mask mandates. Other places like where I live right now in Alberta, they've thrown off the shackles of everything, almost. They're still monitoring the wastewater for the rise in COVID, which is a very good indicator of if COVID's on the rise in areas, which is kind of cool that they're still keeping an eye on it. But it's also, they've kind of done away with everything. And we're sort of like, hey, we're back to normal. And some people are not ready for that, right? Because we've been in this lockdown for so long that it's like, oh, we're free again. And what does that mean? And do we have measures in place? So all of that coming together, right? We want to be free and we want to do our thing and shine our light, Leo. But then there's this, Pluto, government in Capricorn, structure, responsibilities. Are we being the authority figures that we need to be? So you can look at this both ways, right? That we're sort of feeling like the structures are being thrown off, and is that responsible? Or in other places that they're bringing back some of those constraints to our freedoms, like masking, or maybe some mandates about where you can mask, or isolation, or whatever that is. And so there's this kind of this weird dynamic where people are trying to figure out where they sit in all of this. And I think governments and people in leadership are also trying to figure out where they lead, where they sit in all this. And God bless them for trying to find that ground for us, because I don't know what's right. I know what I feel like is right for me, but to now mandate that for a bunch of people, God bless all those people in service, really. Wednesday, August 18th, Mercury is going to be coming to sit next to Mars in Virgo. And this is going to carry through for this week. It's going to be part of the full moon on Sunday in Aquarius. So this aspect is Mercury, which is our mind, communication, our thought processes, the way we coordinate ourselves, how we move through the world. It's our connection to other people through our speaking. And Mars is our motivation, our desire, our sexiness. It's the way we kind of go through the world. And with Mars in Virgo and Mercury in Virgo, there's a lot of Virgo energy. Now, I'm a Virgo. And so, full disclosure here, that is lovely energy. But if you're somebody who is not a Virgo, like Pisces, that's my opposite sign, God bless Pisces as well. My dad's a Pisces. I've known a lot of Pisces people. I have a lot of clients that are Pisces. They're beautiful people. Some of the best people in the world are Pisces. And It is not their thing to be so detailed and so task-oriented, right? So we can be bogged down with details. So the beauty of this is we get to action our ideas and thoughts. Virgo likes to do things. We are organized. We are observant. We are like to be of service. We like to give us a task and we will do. We will organize your bank account. We will organize your show for you. You know, we will do all those things. I love organizing meetings and having meeting minutes and to-do lists, and that might drive you crazy. It's all right. You might not be a Virgo. You know, spreadsheets and highlighters and pens. So exciting. So this is going to be this feeling of getting yourself organized and feeling like it is time to get your life on track. Yay for this energy, right? So this is on Wednesday, a great day to do tasks. So intelligent, focused on getting things done is courage to be seen and heard and what needs to be said. Be of service, observe, analyze, healthy routines, deep thoughts, and flowing into action. So this is a great day to action your ideas and thoughts and to doing into your life. I would say with all of this energy, I think being loud and outspoken is not going to get you anywhere. I mean, really, is it going to get you anywhere anyway, right? It's one thing to be a, what's the word? Champion for rights, human rights and violations. And it's another thing to tell somebody that they're not allowed to believe what they believe. You know, do we, like, are they related? Absolutely. Is there a gray line there somewhere? For sure. Do I know how to navigate that? Not on here. I don't have enough time on here to talk about that, but I love debating things like that because I think we are given a voice to be a voice of good in the world and shift the world in great and wonderful ways. And we don't do that staying silent, especially in the face of atrocities. But there's also a not fine line, I would say a big line between personal rights and what someone believes versus actions that we do to fix the world. And what I mean fix is atrocities of the past and helping people with, you know, human rights violations. And I'm all for one kind of person, right? I love community. Thursday, August 19th. This day is a big day. It's a big day. We're going to feel it actually up from the 9th of August, so last week, to the next week as well. And this is Uranus going retrograde. Now, when a planet goes retrograde, it just means it's going slower than the Earth. And when that happens, it means that its energy is internalized. It's not externalized anymore. So Uranus is all about change on the outside, change in the big things, right? And so as it was going through this lovely Earth sign of Taurus, we see earthquakes, we see the banking system, Bitcoin, right? So being Taurus rules everything of value, like banks, money, things that are kind of tangible. Bitcoin was interesting because there's that square Uranus to Saturn, and Saturn is about tangible and responsibility, and Uranus in Taurus is about the banking system. So it's almost like, how do we see currency? Not the same anymore. Currency and the way that we look at like cryptocurrency, gold stocks, platinum stocks, things like that, how we view money and wealth, so changing in a very Aquarian way of community, of like, you can't touch it anymore, right? Like cryptocurrency, you can't touch that. That's very Aquarian, right? It's like this out there idea that you're not able to like put your finger on. It's like the internet and electricity is very Aquarian. So on this day, this is going to be a very intense Uranian Aquarian day. Because Uranus rules Aquarius, we're going to see this kind of crossover of interesting things coming up here. And we also have Jupiter in Aquarius right now, and there's an aspect to Jupiter on this day too. So what does this all mean? What does this mean? There's going to be a disruption in power, technology. This is a day where your internet may surge, or you might have power outages around the world. So really, you know, disruptions in our schedule. It's kind of like this energy is now moving inward, and we're sort of focusing now this on how do we have a part to play in all of this. Whatever you've been holding on to for security, gonna be taken away. And really, this is a time, and this is kind of moving into, not to say that you're going to, like, you know, have no money and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. It's that little safety blanket of ways that you keep yourself safe and in that comfort zone where nothing grows. That's going to start to shift you. Okay. So the earth, environment, earthquakes, money, finances, looking at life through new eyes. That's what this is going to feel like for all of us. Toss out the old ways of thinking, create a new world. Time to face your fears and become who you really are. And I think that is where it's very interesting when you look back to pre-COVID times. What do you see? I saw little busy ants and everybody doing their jobs and coming home and paying bills and going on holidays. We had our lovely little routines, right? And then COVID shut all that down. Very interesting. And then also a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their lives. A lot of people weren't able to see each other. Borders were closed down. So there was massive, like, actual physical barriers to seeing people. I know so many people that were divided by borders, and they can't cross them. They can't, they won't let people out of Australia, and they won't let us out of Canada to go and do fun things, right? I mean, we can't go to the US, and we definitely can't go to Australia. So there's definitely this feeling of, you know, we feel confined. Uranus and Aquarius, they like freedom. They are rebellion. Rebels. They're rebels. And so they like to have their freedom to explore and to be unique and to be themselves. So if you are an Aquarius, you like to let your freak flag fly, right? And if you have Aquarius in certain aspects of, we all have Aquarius somewhere in our charts. If you were born with Uranus retrograde, for example, in your chart, you hide your uniqueness. You hide that kind of freakiness because you don't want people to judge you. You don't want people to think less of you, whatever it is, right? It always comes back to judgment, really. So it's really interesting that that's going to be coming up. Now, what's interesting too is that these are 2 days. This is happening 2 days before the full moon. So it's going to be potent. Uranus is a very slow moving planet. So it is going to sit at the same degree for about a few days, at least 5-6 days. I didn't take a look, but usually it'll sit at that same degree, which makes it extra potent, extra feeling kind of, it might feel like, I feel like Uranus and Taurus feels a little bit anxious. That's what it feels like. It's like it wants to be grounded, but it also wants freedom. So it's like trying to break through the earth, right? I almost think of like an earthquake, the magma coming up through the earth. That's what it's going to kind of feel like. Now, on this day, the sun is sitting opposite Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion, and the sun is our individuality and our vitality. So on this day, you also want to really make sure that you're not overcommitting yourself or overdoing things. You'll have this increase in energy. Be careful not to get your hands into too many things when you want to help so many people, and then you're feeling really depleted. And this also is helping you to heal what holds you back from your expansion. So if you think about Jupiter in Aquarius, this is about expanding your uniqueness, you know, being vulnerable and showing that, you know, kind of think of that peacock. I know peacocks are male, but, you know, think of that kind of J-Lo. There you go. Having that J-Lo flag fly. And then the sun in Leo is about, can I say my thing? Can I be who I am? Can I shine my light? About Uranus is about, or sorry, Aquarius is about our community, and Leo is about my light. So they're two opposite signs, right? Leo is about my personal gifts and talents, and Aquarius is like, how can we use our gifts and talents now to make society better, right? So there's the two. So you're trying to find this balance between the two because they're opposite. It's like a teeter-totter. You're trying to find this balance between your unique effervescence and being of service into the world in some way. What holds you back from that? And that's going to also be the theme for the full moon. So where are you limiting yourself in your life? Very important theme this week. On Friday, August 20th, we have Mercury trine to Uranus retrograde. Mercury is our mind. A trine is harmonious flow to the max. And Uranus in retrograde and Taurus is our effervescence, unique talent, our ways to, we bring tangibility to some sort of something in our lives. So this is ingenious ideas, out of the box thinking, opening up your mind to new possibilities, stimulating thinking in communicating to others and communication to others, increases the chances of meeting new and interesting friends. So this is a great day to socialize on Friday, maybe go for a drink. I was going to say the moon moves into Aquarius early that morning. So this is going to be a very lovely social day if that's something that's interesting to you. And then Sunday, August 22nd, the second full moon in Aquarius at the 29th degree. Now, if you've been watching me for a little while, you'll know 29 degrees is called an anaretic degree in astrology, or a critical degree. And what that means is it's at the very last degree of the sign. So there's only 30 degrees in a sign. And when a planet moves to the last degree of a sign, if it's in your chart or in the sky, it is potent. It is so much that sign, it's almost the next sign. And what happens at the 29th degree is it starts to express the shadow side of that sign, is what I'll say. So the harder traits, because it's almost like, did you learn the lesson, right? So at the 29th degree of Aquarius, this is about, so Aquarius is very much about community, about communal love. It is ingenious. It is the effervescence. It is technology. It is the internet, right? It is kind of this coming together, but it's very cerebral. So when we think about kind of the harder aspects of Aquarius, it's about detached coolness, not being really kind of, it's almost clinical in nature, right? And it's so much about the community that we forget about the individual's needs. So if you think about when COVID first hit, I just had this conversation on the internet with someone who lost their mom during that time at the beginning of COVID. And they were so clinical in nature that they forgot about the emotional and spiritual needs of their patients. So this amazing older woman, senior citizen, died by herself because they didn't want anyone to give her COVID. What? And so her family is still devastated. I would say that there's trauma there now, that they're upset that they feel that she had to die by herself. She didn't know what was happening. She had dementia. She was wondering, not full dementia, obviously, because she knew that her family wasn't there. Why can't I see my family? And so that cool discernment, that detached nature that we saw at the beginning of COVID, of the doctors saying, we got to keep everybody safe, everybody isolate, we don't talk to anybody, don't worry about mental health. That's not as important as physical health and not spreading this virus. And that's clinical medical thing, not taking into account the rest of it. Does that make sense? So it's not saying that I'm on either side of it, but I'm saying that that is an example of Aquarius at the 29th degree. So what we can see here coming in, Aquarius is also that sort of that spread of the virus through the air. It's like weird how it spread around the world, right? Very Aquarian. And of course, last year there was a big Aquarian as Saturn moved into Aquarius, and so did Jupiter. We had a very Aquarian year with the spread of the virus. So this again indicates the spread of the virus. So with the sun and the moon, opposite each other in the sky, the sun is in Leo, fire sign. Moon is in Aquarius, air sign, spread of the virus. And Jupiter is sitting next to the moon as well, expanding our mind, expanding our emotions, making us feel extra sensitive in this moon time. And it is also going to be sort of expansive of our feelings and our sensitivity. And it's also very expansive of community. This can make us feel very protective of one another. Jupiter is also about justice and social justice in Aquarius. So this can feel like we might see some atrocities that, same thing with all these little babies that were buried in residential, schools across Canada, rising, more of those bodies being found at this time as well. So social justice. At the time of this full moon, Mercury and Mars again are together in Virgo. So this is an analytical, focused mind to do things, to focus on details for things. So be careful in this time of social justice that you're not like, I see what you said there, because this can make you a warrior on the internet. Stop it. Stop it. We don't want that, because you're not changing anyone's mind. You really aren't, right? It's not, you can put your message out and you can definitely be a voice for change, but in terms of going after all these other people, it's not. It's just putting out negativity, right? There's also this other aspect of Neptune sitting opposite Mercury. So Mercury is our mind, remember, communication, our thought processes, and Neptune is about spirituality. In Pisces, it's about medicine and, things like vaccines and healing and things that way. So I feel like there's going to be a more heated debate around this time of, unfortunately, I feel like they're going to be implementing some passports or more incentives for people to get the vaccines. And in that instance is going to create this dichotomy of what's real and what's not. Who do we believe and who do we not? And if you believe for vaccines, great. If you don't believe in vaccines, great. I'm not going to share my opinion on here because it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is there's going to be this balancing act of like, what do we believe and what don't we? And it's going to bring more heat to this. So I'm going to ask you to just bring compassion and that Leo heart energy and sit in your heart and know what is truth for you and how do you want to live your life in this moment, and live it in the way that feels like it's being true to yourself, Leo, but also true to society and community, and that you're keeping yourself and people safe around you. Whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, I don't really care. And please don't share it on here because that's not what this is about. This is more about you just keeping each other safe and doing the right things for you and your mental health that makes sense for you and your mental health and your family. Community, Aquarius, right? So let's not get so detached from our emotions and our spiritual side. Aquarius is very spiritual, but it's this clinical thinking things through at that 29th anaretic degree that we want to make sure that you're still staying in your heart too, and that you're having that compassion for the people around you. And you might get poked. This energy here is about getting poked from the people around you and what's happening on the news. And you come back into your heart and go, how do I want to live my life? When I look back at this 5-10 years from now, who do I want to say I was? I lived with integrity, I followed my heart, and I made sure I kept myself and other people safe. And I did the things that made me happy and lit me up with joy. Yeah. Is that hard to do during this time? Absolutely, it's hard. So I am sending you so much love as you navigate that. This is definitely a very dynamic week for energy. So please take some patience with you, have a deep breath. This is a great week to meditate and maybe not so much into the news, more just into your little world of yourself. And, not necessarily your little world, you might have a big world, but just coming back into yourself and your heart and knowing who you are. When we focus outside of ourselves, we start to get lost. Come back to self. All right. Wishing you a wonderful week ahead. I know that was a little bit long. This is a big week. Have a great week. Thanks for being here. And please comment below something that you took away from this that you're like, I never thought about that. And again, see what works for you, right? This is the astrology. It's very basic and it's very about society and about the world. How it applies to you will be different based on your own chart, right? So just see how I love hearing about how people plan their weeks according to this as well, and seeing how you're taking advantage of this energy. Wishing you a wonderful week. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Bye.